Hey everyone, welcome back to my workbench. So something, a slight throwback to something I've done before, but tonight we're going to be working on the Atari 5200, a Jaguar Atari 5200 controller conversion. So what happened was, my screen is way too dark, which I don't like. Let's see, I think the backlight compensation's too high. Do-do-do-do. 60 hertz gamma. Let's bump that up a little bit. That's better. Okay, so this is. Well, what happened was I went to a simpler e-commerce solution on my website, and I hadn't gotten the orders from the ages for the 5200 controller. So, and lo and behold, 2-3 days later, I got an order. So thank you. I think this is Donald bought this one, and since these parts have been sitting doing nothing for a while, I'll get to show you what goes into making a 5200 controller conversion. Alright, so these are Jaguar controllers. They're like new old stock or barely used stock. Bought these a while back actually. And you can see all the weird little steps that go into it. This is what I call my version 2.0 of the, actually it's kind of version 2.1 really. It uses potentiometers instead of fixed resistors, and I have, when I'm all said and done, there will be a label on the back that you can actually pull up in case you need to trim the controller once you're done. I'm just going to put these on the side here. The key is don't change tools too often, because that's what kills you. If you're just doing one of them, you'll use a lot of time up doing it. These, I had to put new stickies on these. There's not much stick left. So these Jaguar controllers are nice because it's got the right number of buttons to actually for the 5200. My biggest complaint with the 5200 isn't the fact that the joystick centering is dependent on a rubber boot. It's the fact that the ergonomics are absolutely terrible. 5200, in my opinion, sorry, the Jaguar, in my opinion, is a very nice ergonomic controller, which is why I went with it. Very similar to Atari Lynx, and that's why I'll be coming back to the Lynx later. I had some issues with my recording setup, but once I got those resolved, I saw this. I was sitting in the movie theater and saw I got an order. So, generally speaking, I like having paying customers serviced first, and with the exception of poor Brandon on the Atari Learning computer, which is taking forever. Alright. Just lob off the old connections there. We don't need this cable anymore. And then what needs to come out next is this needs to get cut off. This is the panel for the front panel controls. And scissors. Why am I using my hands? Scissors. Okay. And I think with this order, I will buy myself a hot air rework station. That'll make my life easier in working with surface mount. So you have one of these little guys. So let's, like I said, don't switch tools too much. So I'm gonna cut this guy out. Don't need that anymore. And then we can, for now, we can set these aside. With the fronts, or backs, I should say. And then you end up with these. This is the actual D-pad. It's just held together. If your booms in the background, it's 4th of July right now. And it just turned dark. Alright. Get these rubber bits out of the way. Do the same for this one. Sometimes they come apart easier than others. Now these just come apart. This is the D-pad. I just have a little tray next to me with all the bits and gubbins in there. I already have heated up my evil little solder removal tool. And my trusty coffee can. You can actually use this crazy little tool as a hot air source, but it's nowhere near convenient as a proper hot air. Just use that for surface mount. Stuck somewhere. Yeah, they really bent over these leads when they did it. Okay. There we go. Garbage. Nice. Our village actually had fireworks 2 days ago. Grandpa here might need to get his eyes on. Yeah, we went out today and saw the new Indiana Jones movie. I mean, you could have lost, I'd say, close to an hour of it, and it wouldn't have made any difference, like plot-wise. Just after a while, it's like, it's this one chase scene after the next chase scene after the next chase scene. Well, I'm glad I saw it, but I mean, I'm old enough that I saw all three of the original Indiana Jones movies in the theater, so let's just say a little disappointing. First 20 minutes were really good, and maybe the last 10 minutes were halfway decent, but everything between then, not so much. Alright. Making sure I can see daylight through all the holes. Okay, so after a pause there, it's now the next day, and with the Jaguar controller, what you have to do is cut 3 of the traces on the board. And I have it set up on my CNC where I have a rig for it. My dog is growling. Okay, this is like my longest video ever here. Alright, so like I was saying, this is the Jaguar controllers. So you actually have to cut 3 traces on there. And I do have my CNC set up to do that, which is nice. I'm trying to remember which color I don't need. Light blue. So next up we need to do is there needs to be a little, because I cut the traces for the one side of the paws. There's like 4 directions in the paws. I actually all use the same line, which is why you have to cut it in 3 different spots. Anyways, I used to have to do that by hand, using just a file, and now I have just a little bit of G code for the. This all tangled up. A little bit of G code to get that set up. So I'm just going to go on here and get a little solder going. Just take a little bit of wire. Solder bridge. The 5200 uses a DB15, but like a lower density one. Like an old game controller. Uses 14 of the 15 pins. Alright, that looks nice. Now, the other magic is coming off of that pad. It's a white wire. So, my trick is I cannibalize the wire from the original Jaguar controller. So it happens to be very similar colors to the original. I used to, when I started to do it, I cut a little bit off the solder mask off the top, but this time I'm going to go through, there's a little plated through hole here that is the, well, it goes to the ground of the system. Nice. Do the same thing over here. Next up is the really boring bit where I have to strip a bunch of wires back. Solid electrical connection. All right, so that's it for the initial prep work on this. So then I need these are 15-pin extension cables, originally from the Neo Geo of all systems, but it's just a 15-pin straight through, so you can use them for the PCs. Used to use 15-pin controllers as well on the game port. That's a nice 10-foot cable. I'm just gonna pull back a little bit of it, like so. This end I don't need anymore. This is actually going to be our new working end. Before I forget, this is on the version 2.1 of my controllers. I use a little string relief on there, so I'm throwing that on there before I forget. Strip it back pretty far, maybe 4 or 5 inches. I'm trying to be careful not to go too deep because I don't want to nick too many of the wires in there. Though I think there is a shield, so let's try that again. Going into more detail than I usually am on these controllers because I don't think there's a lot of people out there who are going to go through all the trouble of copying this design very much. I might be wrong. We'll see. So one schematic I've never posted is the schematic for these controllers. I just want to ohm out one of them to make sure these are the same This is the rest. Let's see, I just need to pick. It should be brown. It's all real small stuff, 30 gauge. Actually, this might be 32. No, I think it's 30. And pin 1. Do you think it'd be this or this one? I can't remember which one's one. Let's drop a diode lead in there. $50-50. Yeah. Yes. Nice. Alright, so they didn't change the colors on me, but I always check. Alright. We gotta move down the row here. I'll start on the down and left. 1 and 3. I just updated my schematic after close to 4 years. So I ended up making these little circuit boards here. So kind of neat little doohickeys. Oh. Well, you have power and ground on these little guys. Kind of cool. Yeah, it's been so long, can't remember. Okay, so that light isn't used, so it's just a resistance between there and there. There. Oh yeah. So I did 2 wires to make it easier. And this I drew it up in KiCad and then exported the Gerber file and made it. Alright, let's go with first wire is all the way on the left, which is down, which is blue, which is the Y.